I'm Edward October, host of Octoberpod, and you're listening to a special multi-part series by A Nefarious Nightmare called Minding the Beehive. Before we begin, we felt it our responsibility to issue a stern warning. This series serves as a deep dive exploration into the attacks committed by a serial rapist. This will include detailed first-hand accounts from the victims of this assailant. While this series is meant to raise awareness and inspire vigilance, we do understand that such content may trigger painful emotions for certain individuals. Listener discretion is therefore very strongly advised.
Today we will be listening to the full phone call with Adrienne and Haley, who told her story in part 5, and then a discussion between Courtney and Elyse from the podcast True Crime Cat Lawyer.
The discussion I had with Elyse has opened my own eyes a bit. I mean, we both saw things in the whole series that made us kind of step back and be like, good, I wasn't going crazy. And I absolutely loved her perspective, being that she is a lawyer. But anyway, with that, I am Courtney Fenner.
And I'm Amanda Cronin, and A Nefarious Nightmare presents Minding the Beehive, Surviving a Serial Rapist, Part 6. For this one and the next one, I won't be present because the interviews held with these podcasters were held by our very own Courtney. I will, however, start everyone off with brief introductions. Just to recap, in part 1 through 5, you heard various stories from different victims of the same person, Adrienne Vildusea, as well as a deep dive into what's and whys of narcissism. If you are just now joining us for this series, I advise you to stop here and start with part 1, because all of this does tie together.
Before we continue, here's the phone call. Just know this episode will be longer than normal, but it's well worth your time.
What the?
What?
I heard like a dude's voice in the background.
Oh, well, I had my YouTube video on real quick, but I just paused it.
Like on TV?
Yeah, I was watching a YouTube video, but I turned it off. What are you watching? Still watching Kitchen Nightmare?
Yeah, Kitchen Nightmare, apparently. No, not really watching it. It's just like background noise. I need to grab my phone charger. Honestly, my phone's gonna fucking die.
Okay.
Nice fucking rough, man. Grab this. How you doing?
Alright. Wondering.
You watching anything? Smoking up, I'm sure.
I honestly should take a dub, but I haven't yet. But now I just turned everything off. Hold on, I'm gonna close my door and my phone's charging. Give me a sec.
It's fine.
Alright, I'm back.
Yeah, I'm just laying down now.
So I feel like we should talk about that text from earlier. I already told you I don't want to rush into a relationship. So I'm not comfortable with us being like boyfriend and girlfriend yet. Because of many things. But I mean, before I call someone my boyfriend, I want them to meet my friends and, you know, make sure that all the vibes are good there. And like, I don't know, I just don't want to rush into something after just a couple of weeks. Like, boyfriend and girlfriend, like, that means, like, that's a really, really big thing for me, you know? Like, I don't know, I think I just need more time with that. And just continue talking and dating like we are. I'm not talking to anyone else. I hope you're not either. But I just don't think I'm ready for a boyfriend-girlfriend title yet.
Yeah, I understand. I just figured since we had sex and give oral and stuff like that, like that's pretty big for me as well. I want to share my body, so
yeah, I mean
that's pretty big for me. So I just thought it would be formidable to say, hey, we are together, or we have that title because we're having sex together. But I mean, if we just like have sex with other people, it might be cool, you know. It's fine.
I don't even know what to say to that. I don't think that...
I know. That's exactly like what it is.
No, I don't think that just because you have sex with someone means that you get to rush into a relationship. And I already told you many times before how I felt about it.
I don't think it's really funny. I mean, people take sex different ways. So for me to share my body with you, absolutely. Like, hey, like we're together. Like I'm sharing my body with you. That's how it should be. You shared your body with me after 5 minutes of me being at your house before we even knew each other. So how, like, what? What do you mean? Well, you consented and you wanted it.
What does that have to do with anything?
So, and it's a lot because I like you. It doesn't mean I met you 5 minutes and I wanted to get laid.
I mean,
if I wanted to get laid, I can go do it. Like, I could just go out and do it. Not a problem. Yeah, I share my body with you. It's like, hey, like we're together. Like we're sharing our bodies together. I don't.
There's so much more than a relationship for me. And I already told you before that you've lied to me so many times already that I'm not comfortable until you tell me what the fuck is going on with everything and why you lied to me so many different times about so many dumb things and why you were cheating on your ex-girlfriend. Am I going to have to deal with that?
I've told you everything. I've confided in you. I don't really know what answers you want from me.
You didn't tell me anything.
I've told you a lot more.
You flipped your story. And, okay, like, I'm honestly really glad that you can do that with me. I'm very happy, and it's really cool, but you're not telling me anything. You're not answering any of it.
What do you want? What answers do you want?
What? Number one. So you were cheating on your ex-girlfriend?
I don't know if I was cheating because we were talking long distance.
Yeah, but you told me that you were so in love and that you guys talked about marriage and that you were so excited to spend the rest of your life with her. If you were excited about that, then why would you still be messaging people on the Facebook app?
Because it was a fantasy. We were both living in a fantasy that didn't come up to the expectation that we both thought that we wanted. But I handled it better.
You confided in me and said that you were very much in love and that this hurt you very, very much. So now it was just a fantasy and it wasn't real feelings and it was okay for you to just be messaging other people?
I think that we were both feeling really alone and we both didn't want to be alone. So we just jumped the gun. This person wanted to print out marriage papers in their state. So they wanted to print out marriage papers in their state and marry me, and I got love bombed. They're saying I love bombed them, but no. I mean, I got screenshots. I know what they said. It's fine. They're still obsessed with me. It's just what it is. They're obsessed.
That's what it is.
It's exactly what it is. Why are you posting pictures of my t-shirt saying I look better than anyways?
Why are you
Not
more
even
concerned
48
about her
hours ago.
posting pictures of herself when she's accusing you of you raping her? Why are you more concerned about
Exactly.
what she's posting in her pictures or in your freaking shirt or what she put in her bio? Why is that affecting you more? And you're more upset about those things and you bring those things up more than her accusing you of raping her. Why are you more concerned?
Because I know I didn't do that. I have nothing to hide. I didn't do that. So why would I
then
feed
you are
into
just
that?
so then you are just still in love with her.
No, I'm not.
Then why are you?
Is that what you're concerned about? That if I'm in love with this person or not? Like,
Yes, because I already told you my whole fucking past situation and how I dealt with my ex, who was still in love with his fucking ex, and then he rushed into something with me, and then he ended up breaking my fucking heart and ruining my fucking life.
okay, well, I understand that. It's just projection, which I understand what you're doing. I understand.
It's not
I see
projection. It's not projection. It's because that's literally what you did. You literally were cheating on her. You literally were still talking to other women. How the fuck am I supposed to know that you're not going to do that with me?
you. No, I didn't cheat on her.
You just did that.
We weren't even that serious at that point, so.
Oh, you guys weren't already engaged. You got engaged the day that you got there.
Oh, yeah. I got on the knee and engaged and proposed. No, it was just talk. That's all it was. Never got on the knee for anybody in my entire life. Ever. It was just husband and wife talk, and we talked it up, and we boasted it up so big, because I feel like that's what she really wants. She wants a husband. She's got a kid, you know? Her fucking kid's dad is not a good dude. He's fucking addict and in and out of fucking rehab and shit like that. So I feel like she wants a fucking father figure, and she wants like somebody to love her and like be there, and she boasted it up like, oh yeah, marry me. Like, dude, she asked me to fucking marry her like not even a month into the fucking whole ordeal. Like, it was this whole thing, man. And I went along with it. I was like, hell yeah, like, dude, I would love a wife. That'd be awesome, like, for sure. That's just what it was. And we boasted it up way too much, and we put so high expectations in the 3 months that we talked that when we met and it didn't meet those expectations, people's feelings get hurt. My feelings got hurt as well. I'm human. That shit is natural. It's gonna happen. But I handle things differently than this person does. I'm not gonna claim rape and fucking try to ruin your life over the fact that you got heartbroken. You're heartbroken. She's heartbroken. Point blank, period. She is.
But you told
You
me
can
that
deny
you
it all the
put-
way. You're like,
You
I don't
did put
miss
your hand on
you.
her.
I hate you. I don't miss you. I hate you. You're the worst person I've ever met in my life. It's the worst decision ever. But you're still holding on to it. So is all those things true? I have no clue. Just saying really hurtful shit because you're upset and you're disappointed and you're heartbroken. So you don't go out of your way to ruin somebody else's fucking life because you got your heart broke. People's hearts get broken every single day in
Don't
this world.
forget that part.
What?
That you put
What
your
part?
hands on her.
We put hands on each other. Just because I'm a guy doesn't mean shit. Look at Johnny Depp.
So,
That's
you
a
still
fine
said you put your
example.
hands on her.
We put his hands on each other. No. Now I'm getting
No?
a call from Christine Graves from Joliet, Illinois. I don't know who that is.
No idea.
Yep. Look at Johnny Depp. Prime example. Just because I have a penis doesn't mean I can't be abused. And I have been abused. She's abusing me now. She's an abuser.
Then why are all
Because you have a vagina doesn't make it any different. It does not make it any different.
How many other people are accusing you of this?
How many what?
How many other people are accusing you of this? Because you told me there were multiple
I have
people.
no
now.
idea.
You have
I don't
no
really
idea.
care. If it was that
Why are
serious,
all-
I'd already be in handcuffs and in prison. So people just like to follow, and I like to be sheep. Shit goes on every day. It's that stupid social media Me Too movement. I'm not the only one. There's so many dudes out there that are like, oh my god, like he did that too, and he did. And girls like to come together, man. They love to do that shit, and I love the drama. they thrive off of it, and it's sickening, and I hate it. And I feel really bad for all, like, the really solid dudes out there that are getting thrown under the bus. All I have to say about it, I don't really care how many people. I don't care. If it was that serious, you wouldn't have asked me to leave. Oh, no, you didn't ask me to leave. Sorry, you didn't have the guts to ask me to leave. You had to have your coworker do it for you. But I guarantee you right now, if it was as serious as she claims that it is, I wouldn't have gotten a call. Cops would have been at the house, and there would have been no question. Not leave. We give you an hour to leave. Like, no, dude. No. Cops would have been there, and no heads up, no nothing. Like, if it's as serious as you claim it to be, you're dragging it on for attention. You are doing everything in your power for a pity party. And I know that, because you took it to your sex website on OnlyFans. People who go through something that traumatic do not ask for money about it. They don't.
I don't think that.
Oh, by the way, I was raped. Can I have some money? By the way, I was raped. Can I have some money? Like, no, dude.
I think that it's your place to say how anyone should act after they're abused in any sort of way. I don't care if I know this.
It is my place, because when you start to take the story, when you take the story to your OnlyFans and your sex website and ask for money, like, no, dude, no. I know real survivors. My sister's one of them. People who go through something like that do not go ask for money about it. You can ask any real survivor. They will never go out of their way.
For money about it.
She did.
The post that you showed me was,
hey, did. I have the screenshot.
Did you miss me? That doesn't sound like somebody who's begging for money. It sounds like someone who's trying to get back to work and live their life. And if she does OnlyFans for work, then why wouldn't she go straight back to it?
I don't know whose side you're on, so...
I am concerned for my own...
about it anymore. She's not trying... No, dude. Nope.
No what?
Absolutely not. Begging for money. That's what it is. She doesn't have a job. She has a kid.
She doesn't have a job?
Decides to... Yeah, I don't know whose side you're on anymore, and I don't know if I can even trust you. From the guy's voice I heard when I first picked up the phone until, like, I don't know, man. You are... It's sketching me out. I don't feel comfortable.
Okay. I mean, if you're that paranoid, then that's fine with me. I'm just trying to ask you questions because all of this is really fucking sketchy.
It is sketchy.
Yeah.
The person I ran into is sketchy. The person I ran into is the worst person I've ever met in my life. And they're trying to ruin my life. And you're on their side. And it's like fucking disgusting.
I'm trying to get the answers.
No. Maybe she had to take time off of work and ask for... No, bullshit, dude. That's bullshit.
No, I didn't say she took time off. If she's doing OnlyFans, then that is her way of getting money, yes? So that would be her going back to work, yes? That's all I'm saying.
But I'm not gonna go jump on OnlyFans, say I got raped, and ask for money about it. Right, I know that.
I understand that. I do. I get it.
No, you don't get it. Maybe she had to take time off of work and she needs... But no, dude, you don't go and say I got raped on your OnlyFans and ask for money.
Don't put words in my mouth, number one, because I did not say that.
No, that's exactly what you said. I remember.
I did not say she took off time. I said OnlyFans is obviously her job. That's her going back to work. So yes, I'm sure she wants to go back to work immediately. Her posting on OnlyFans is doing her job because she makes money. That's what I'm assuming. If she's doing OnlyFans, then that's her job. That's what I'm saying. When you're saying, oh, if someone really got raped and then they just went back and posted all over OnlyFans, like, are you degrading sex work? That's what I don't like about this conversation, is your little side comments about things. Oh, she's posting all kinds of sexy pictures. If she was really raped, why would she do that? That's not your place, even if she wasn't fucking raped, or if she was. That's not your place to say anything about what she does. Just in general, about anyone.
No, it's fine. I'll take it down, and we should make an OnlyFans together because we'd make so much money because you're so hot. And, like, I'll take it down, honey. Like, it's fine. Like, don't worry about it. I don't need it. Blah, 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 blah. The moment we break up, boom, 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 boom. There it is, all again. I feel like I was a sex object. Let's make some money off this deed. And that's what it is. I couldn't go 10 minutes without talking about something sexual with this person. Oh, come in me, daddy. I need you, daddy. Blah, blah, blah. I have all the screenshots, okay? Show up to the airport in lingerie. We fuck all weekend. We get in one argument. Now it's rape? I don't think so, dude. That's not how it works. And you don't go cry on your OnlyFans about being raped. Like, dude, like, knock the shit off, dude. What are you, like, 16? Like, dude, just stop. Just fucking stop already. Like, get over it. Go get laid. I think I dicked her down so good she's obsessed. And she even told me that. She goes, if you come in me, like, I'm going to fucking go crazy. Like, I will lose my mind, and I'm going to be completely obsessed, and I hope you're ready for the crazy that comes out of me once you come inside me. And I should have never done it. I should have never done it. Because I dicked her down so good, now she's obsessed, dude. She doesn't want anybody else to have me. She doesn't want anybody else. It's her life goal to never let anybody suck my dick or fuck anybody ever again. That's her goal, because she's obsessed. And I know it. I know who this person is. I can see right through it.
Alright. That sucks.
And yeah, I will talk about the fucking sex work, because apparently she didn't need it. That's the only reason I'm talking about it. I don't need it. I don't need it. It's fine. I'll delete it for you, babe. It's fine. It's cool. Or maybe we should make a joint account, and then we can, like, make money together. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Minute we break up, right back on it. Oh, I was raped. I need some money. Oh, here's my booty in the morning. Who wants to join? What's up? Like, no, dude. No. That's treating me like shit, and that's just turning, like, that's like me going on fucking dating websites and being like, hey, like, fucking hitting people up all the time and shit like that. If you need money that desperately, go be a stripper. Go do something else. I don't fucking know what to tell you. All I know is all this OnlyFans shit. I wouldn't care about it if you didn't take the fucking post to OnlyFans. If you want to post on it, I've seen your previous posts that you posted even before you met me, which is fine. Fine. Whatever. But when you tell me I don't need it, and babe, I'll delete it for you, and we should make content together because you're super hot, we make so much money, sounds like a money scam to me, for one. For two, you just jump right back on it like nothing ever fucking happened. All right, cool, man. Are you that desperate? Don't you have a son to take care of? Like, I don't fucking know what to tell you, man. You're acting this way and you have a kid. Kid's 5 years old, man. It's disgusting. It's gross. It's gross behavior. Don't want any part of it. I don't want to marry somebody like that. I don't want to spend the rest of my life with somebody like that because it's only going to get worse. And you should take that advice as well with your ex. This guy that keeps running back to you and you have a soft spot for him or whatever, you don't want to spend your life with that dude. And it's a harsh reality. And I'm sure you don't want to hear it. And it's fucking you up. You want to know why it's fucking you up? Because that's not the right person for you.
Right.
The truth hurts, man. It fucking sucks. But we have to move on and we have to get over it.
True.
Big time. And I know you don't want to fucking hear it. But I'm going to fucking tell you right now, that dude ain't for you. And you need to let that dude go. You need to block that motherfucker and never talk to him again. And if he shows up at your house, tell him to fucking leave or get a restraining order. Like, dude, you need to let it go because it's fucking you up. Mm-hmm. So whose harsh reality do you want to hear? You want to hear mine or you want to hear yours?
You can talk about my harsh reality all you want. I don't care.
Well, obviously you do care because you've been in bed fucking sick and depressed, and it's affecting you. So, yeah, gotta let it go, man. Gotta let it go.
I mean, you should listen to your own advice.
I am. What do you think I've done for the last month? I've confided in you. I haven't answered any text, any call, nothing. I'm done. Mm-hmm. I'm over it. I've been over it. Obviously, this person isn't. And I love that they aren't because I know that it's fucking them up. And I love that I know that it's fucking them up. You asked me to leave. I did. All right. Awesome. Cool. Never talk to you again. Awesome. Done it. Respected it. I'm not showing up at people's houses in the middle of the night at fucking midnight begging for love back. I know that because I could be one of those crazy motherfuckers, but I'm not. I'm done. I've moved on. Leave me alone. The exact opposite of what your crazy ex is doing. There's dudes like that. Show up at your house at midnight and confess their love to you after a breakup. I'm not going to do that. Absolutely not. People like that are fucking crazy.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You let him in the house. I don't know what happened. Did you sleep with him? Probably.
No, I did not.
I don't know that. So how am I supposed to trust you?
Because I didn't.
Your ex shows up at midnight.
And I've never lied to you about anything. So you have no reason not to trust me because I've literally never lied to you. Name a time I've ever lied to you.
Yeah. What'd you have? Just sit down and have some coffee and brunch and chill out.
No, if you want the honest truth, we looked like crazy crackheads yelling at each other in the fucking front lawn. That's what we looked like. Is that what you wanted to hear? That I had the worst day of my fucking life? With him trying to twist things, make it seem like all the shit that I went through was just not it, and that no, I looked like a fucking crazy person out on my lawn because no, I did not let him in my house. I was not okay with him being there, and it was awful. But thank you for thinking so highly of me.
Well, I'm glad you called the cops. I'm glad you took care of that. And if it was that crazy and people like heard you outside, I'm sure somebody would have got called. So, at least in my experience, people aren't going to scream and shout at midnight in the middle of a lawn and not have a call be made. I know that.
Okay, so you think I'm lying? Dude, what do you want me to tell you? No, I did not fuck him.
No, what do you want me to tell you? You think I'm still in love with my fucking ex after all the shit that I've been going through? You think I'm still in love with this person? It's like fucking wild to me.
Because it's all you talk about is them.
Yeah, because of what I'm being accused of. I don't care about her. I care about what's being said about.
But no, anytime you complain about something, it's, oh my God, her status is this. Oh my God, she is engaged. I can't believe it. Oh my God, she took a picture in my shirt. Oh my God, this, that. Not, oh my God, I can't believe she's still claiming I'm raping her. It's, oh my God, she's in my shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like someone who's over it.
No, I'm over it. I just think it's funny. Why are you accusing me of all this stuff? Are you gonna wear your rapist shirt? Is that what girls do? They just put on a shirt that, oh, I got raped by this guy, but I'm going to wear his shirt? No, I don't think so.
I don't know how someone acts after they get raped.
Right,
I have no fucking clue.
I tell you these things because you need to see through the bullshit. This is what I'm saying. You don't go to your OnlyFans. You don't wear a shirt that somebody apparently raped you, okay? Girls don't do that. I wouldn't do that. If somebody raped me, what, am I going to put on their shirt and be like, okay, cool? No, dude. I'm telling you these things because you have to see through the bullshit and know that it's all lies. It's for attention. She's wanting to grab my attention. That's all it is. And she's got it, which is fine. But I'm telling you right now, I tell you these things so you can get the details and know how much of a fucking liar this person is. So if you got raped by a dude, you're going to wear a shirt and post a picture about it and say, I look better in it anyways? Is that it? Is that what girls do? I'm not a girl.
I have no idea. I don't know if she's angry enough to piss you off. I have no clue. I've never been raped by someone. I have no idea how I would act after this. I have no clue.
I've never raped anybody. Never raped anybody. So I don't know what to tell you either. The word grosses me out. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it.
I agree.
I don't know what to tell you either, man. I'm telling you these things because it's just honesty. It's just what it is. She's not over it. I'm over it. I'm fine. But I like to keep tabs. See how this person acts. I'm not here to argue with you.
Yeah, I don't want to argue either. Well,
I'm here. Okay? Just resting. I like you a lot. I understand your concerns about not wanting to go through the same thing that you just went through. I understand that. I don't want to go through this shit ever again. Hell, I don't even want to have sex with anybody because it's going to come around and turn around and be like, oh, like, wait, this guy raped me. I'm not very body confident. I'm not very body fucking positive. I don't want to make love to you and then you get mad at me and be like, oh, no, wait, he raped me. I'm like, dude, come on, dude. Like, just stop. I'm scared to have sex with anybody now. I'm traumatized. I'm going to have some sort of PTSD after this shit, for sure, if I don't already have it. So you can understand my concern.
Yeah.
Not once have I forced myself on you. And if I have and you feel that way, then you need to tell me now.
I mean, I did already tell you that when I stopped giving you a blowjob, I went and cried in my bathroom because I felt used. And then you said, I'm sorry you feel that way. Do you remember that?
I don't know why you feel used. Used with what?
Because when, number one, we were outside, I was just fucking crying and having an awful time. And then we come back in here, and like 10 minutes later, we want to do that. I was like, okay. And then I just felt not great. I just didn't feel good. I was already not feeling good because...
You could have said no, like, no, it's okay. We don't have to do this right now. And I would have been like, okay, that's fine. I comforted you outside. I told you everything's going to be okay.
You didn't comfort me.
I was rubbing your shoulder.
I mean, for a little bit, but you were the one who put me in that fucking state because of the way that you were talking to me. I already told you all of this when we talked on the phone a couple days later. I was not okay. And you were the one who was making me feel that way because you triggered my PTSD. I told you I have diagnosed PTSD from my fucking ex. And the way that you were speaking to me, saying that I was going to go kill someone because we're both fucked up and we can't drive. No, we can't leave. No, you're way too fucked up. No, you're going to go kill somebody, and when the cops come, I'm not going to say anything to them. You kept saying that to me over and over and over again, and I wanted you to just stop talking, so I just kept crying, sitting there crying.
Go kill
and I kept
somebody.
And then yes, this is exactly what you told me. You said that when I said that I wanted to drive you back that night from my house because I needed to work the next morning, and I didn't want to have to drive the next morning to go straight to work. Your tone completely switched, and then you got all mad at me and said that we were both too fucked up to drive, even though I only took a dab, which I drive on dabs every fucking day of my life. And then you kept saying over and over again that I'm going to get a DUI because I'm too fucked up because I took too many dabs, and that when we both get pulled over by the cops, that you're not going to say anything to the cops because you're not going to be an accomplice. And you kept saying that to me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I didn't feel comfortable being in a car with somebody that's under the influence.
And then I was crying.
On a dab every day. I don't care.
And then to make you stop yelling at me. To make you stop yelling at me, I just agreed with whatever you said.
Oh, yeah, I yelled at you. See how you
did.
Me out to be the worst person ever? Jeez
I'm not.
Christ,
but when I tried to explain this to you already, and when you told me, oh, I'm sorry you felt that way, I'm sorry that you felt that felt really fucking shitty.
I'm sorry that you feel depressed. I'm sorry that your ex treated you like shit. Don't take it out on me, man.
No, absolutely not, because the way you were speaking to me is what triggered me to start fucking crying and feeling awful.
Okay. Well, sorry that your fucking ex did that to you. The way that I
you can't even own up to anything. You don't feel bad that you were the one who made
I'm a monster. Awful. I yelled at you and I forced you to give me head, and let's just make it out to be.
No, I did not say you forced me to give you head, but I felt used. No, it is not. I said I felt used. How is that?
How you feel that way?
Forcing me?
You don't have to give me head.
Okay, then what about you raising your voice to me? You don't feel bad about that, and you're sorry that I feel that way?
Hold on, my dad's calling.
Right.
Without further ado, here's the discussion with Elyse from True Crime Cat Lawyer.
Well, welcome to A Nefarious Nightmare. Today we have Elyse from True Crime Cat Lawyer, and we also very well may have Winston. So, Elyse, thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me.
Tell everybody a little bit about you, Winston, and also tell everybody about your podcast and your goals with your podcast, and also where to find you.
Yeah, so our podcast is True Crime Cat Lawyer, and we release new episodes every other Thursday. I am a lawyer by day, and as I like to call myself, a crazy cat lady 24/7. We focus on true crime cases from the Pacific Northwest, so Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and British Columbia. And you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. You can just search for True Crime Cat Lawyer.
I love True Crime Cat Lawyer. I love you and Winston both. And my hope is that everybody will find you and love you just as much, as
I was just going to say, it's easy to sucker people in with that little mustache.
And the little meow at the beginning. So, one thing I would like to highlight about your podcast real quick before we dive in is you are really big on people joining Patreons. That way you can donate back to an animal type of organization or to like a victim-centric type of organization. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct. So all of our Patreon proceeds and our ad proceeds, pretty much all the proceeds from our podcast go directly to either, like you said, animal shelters or animal rescue organizations, or victim-centric organizations. Like we've donated to the National Domestic Violence Hotline Network in the past. And so that's something that's really important to me because I'm, I recognize that I'm very fortunate and very privileged to be able to sort of self-sustain my podcast because of my day job. Mm-hmm. And so for me, part of doing true crime in an ethical way is sort of taking my quote unquote proceeds and putting them back into not the true crime community, but back into the community, so that I just have a hard time for my own personal self kind of taking proceeds. And that's just the way I do true crime. I know that a lot of other people are, it's not their day job that, allows them to do this. And so I totally respect that. It's just my own, position that I'm able to be in. And I also I want to save all the animals so badly that, that's what I can do. And so I love animals and cats and dogs so much that's a big, key to my heart is saving those animals. So the more I can give, the better.
Yeah. You and I have talked about this before. You can always pretty much tell how good a person is by the way that it's not necessarily by the way they treat their animals. Of course, that's an obvious sign, but you can also tell how good a person is by the way the animals treat that person. And it's been very apparent that you are a great person because of the way Winston is with you. And I mean, that just it's I don't know. I'm just very amazed by you and your podcast, Elyse. And, we need more of your kind of podcast and your kind of personality in this space for sure.
Thank you.
You're amazing. So what prompted you into becoming a lawyer? What drove you to that?
I grew up watching Matlock and Perry Mason with my grandpa. And so I always wanted to go to law school. That didn't quite happen right after college. It was a big expense that I wasn't necessarily ready for right then. So I kind of took a little detour, got my paralegal degree, really wasn't satisfied with that. So I decided, well, law school's not getting any cheaper, so I might as well just do it. And so I went to law school and, oh my gosh, I think I'm getting close. I think next year will be 5 years that I've been practicing. So this year it'll be 4, which is just crazy to think about that time that's just been passing us by.
Yeah. Oh, time. Wish we had a lot more of that as well as money for gas. So I just wanted to point out a few things. We've been discussing a lot about seeing signs of a sexual assailant as well as maybe pedophilia. Pedophilia is kind of something that's important because this assailant that we have been talking about has also victimized a couple of minors. The timeline spans out over 50 Jane Does, to my knowledge. Another thing that we have touched up on a lot is narcissism. And the reason why narcissism is an important factor to note is because the 9 key traits of narcissism is seen in murderers and in sexual assailants. So a couple of things that I wanted to point out is in that phone call, he mentions the fact that she had become a sex worker and had falsely claimed that no sexual assault survivor will become a sex worker. I say that's false because I know for a fact that is not true. But just because you are a survivor does not mean that you're going to avoid that. The sting that he was speaking with calls attention to the fact that he kept turning around and triangulating all of it to him being victimized. Like, for example, he kept saying, I have screenshots. He kept trying to overly prove himself. He also mentions that he can go out and get laid anytime, and it's just kind of like a silent admission of guilt, in my opinion. He was degrading her character, like he was making the Jane Doe sound bad. He was slandering. He was basically starting a smear campaign. You're starting to see at this point, like, all of the points of narcissism in this. Another thing that I noticed, and no, I am not any kind of lawyer at all by any stretch of the imagination. But, you know, I worked for a law firm and I learned a lot about, and you might be familiar with this, the no versus yes answer versus the non-answer. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He never once said, no, I didn't do that. He said, I would never do that. And from what I had learned, that's an admission of guilt. Did you pick that up?
I didn't, but now that you're bringing this up, I think it's so interesting because language is super important, especially when you're talking about like narcissism, being a sociopath or a psychopath. You know, the language that those people use, or those types of people use, is very particular to that trait. And so I think you're right in saying and not using the word, no, I didn't do that. It's, if you're not really listening for that, like apparently I wasn't, you can miss that, but it's the way you're saying that it's subtle enough that, you know, for the regular person, you're just listening to it and you're like, okay, he's denying it, but he's not, because he never says, like you said, no, I didn't do this.
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of like a sly way of not denying it, but it's just, I remember learning about that, and I always found that to be a very good thing to remember, is like, always watch for non-answers. If you want to know that somebody's lying to you, watch for that non-answer, especially when it comes to sexual assault or pedophilia. If there was a pedophile that they had interviewed and he was like, I would never do that to that little girl, but he's kind of speaking in the past tense, so I would never do that. And then he's probably thinking, until I did it.
Right.
There's just a lot of different things I picked up on this phone call. I just feel like this phone call is just like the best example and description of a narcissist ever. I found it interesting that he mentioned the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial at one point. He also refused. Did you notice that too?
Yeah, I didn't. Continue.
Yeah. He was like, look at Johnny Depp. And he also said something about the quote-unquote stupid Me Too movement. And it's just like, I mean, he's using all this to his own advantage. He's refusing to take accountability. He was also upset because the Sting refused to rush into it, and he was very snarky about that. He was also trying to talk down to the Sting using quote-unquote mansplaining. I'm sure you picked up on that one. He was also talking about her body in a subjective sense, saying things like booty instead of, you know, her butt or her backside, which I found that interesting just because it was subjective. Whereas if you didn't do something, or if you didn't commit an assault, you would have been like, I wouldn't have touched her on her backside, you know? He was just kind of degrading any way he could. He was very grandiose. He kept saying things like, she's obsessed with me. She's desperate. She thinks I'm hot. I can get laid whenever I want. I love that they're fucked up over this. He was lying, saying things like, she said, she said, she did. I have screenshots, you know, or overly willing to prove his shit, which means that he's lying. Like, he's just like, I didn't do this and I've got proof. It's like, well, nobody's saying that they need proof yet, so why are you getting defensive? Yeah, he kept turning the conversation back to the Sting, saying, you need to let that dude go, instead of staying on topic. He just kept triangulating it back to her. It was basically his way of changing the subject because he was uncomfortable. The accusations that nobody was outright laying on him. He kept having counter arguments like, what do you want me to tell you? And then he would say, what do you want me to tell you? You know, or I'm over it. I think it's funny. Or are you going to wear your rapist's shirt? Which again, he's kind of like slyly admitting guilt. And then the fact of the matter is he opened this with, we had consensual sex. Again, nobody's accusing you of anything yet, so why are you automatically jumping the gun and saying we had consensual sex? He's saying that, see, it's all bullshit, all the lies, she just wants attention, she's got it. So, basically my thing is, if it's such bullshit, why are so many women claiming the same story? He's automatically like claiming, who in the background, who is that? That sounds like a dude. As if he owns the person that he's talking. He has a poor me attitude, saying things like, I'm not body confident.
That was like the very first thing I caught on to, was the, who's that in the background? Is that, there must be some dude. Because I personally have had, been emotionally abused. And so for me, like, that was the projection that they always like put on me, even though it was them doing that thing that they were accusing me of. And so that was like the first thing I picked up on, was like, okay, like, why are you just assuming that? Like, first of all, I could hear like a background sound or whatever, but I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman or, a dog or a cat or, like, for you to just like jump the gun and be like, oh, it must be some dude. Like, you're already just like putting these crazy vibes out there. And like you said, just kind of putting it back on this person, like, I own you, you shouldn't be talking to dudes, like, you shouldn't be talking to anyone but me. Like, that's the kind of like message that it's sending, even though he's not actually like saying those words. That's how it's coming across.
Yeah, right. He's already trying to use his coercive control. That's a big one with this guy, coercive control. And you'll definitely hear that in all of the episodes that the victims are actually on there. He uses it on every single one of them. But yeah, he had the poor me attitude. And I know that you noticed this one because I read your text. That shit made me laugh so hard. Not laughing at the victims, by the way. I just want to reiterate that one.
I'm traumatized.
Yeah, that. And he was like, I'm traumatized. I'm scared to have sex with anyone anymore because I have PTSD. I'm not body confident. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but in our society, if you surveyed 100 men, I guarantee like 99 of them would say they would still have sex even after something like this. Like,
Yep.
And then to say that you're traumatized and you have PTSD, like, are you fucking kidding me? Mm-hmm. Maybe you shouldn't rape people.
That's what a narcissist does. That's what a narcissist does. They will become the victim themselves because they don't want to be blamed anymore. You know what I mean? It's just, that's why I'm so glad you're on this with me, because it's just like, I need to hear your perspective also, because I'm hearing this. Is she hearing this? Like, it's just ridiculous. One thing I do want to mention before we get into all the questions, right? I don't know if you noticed this one, okay? But he did say, quote, I comforted you. I was rubbing your shoulders, whenever she was expressing that she was, she felt like she was used whenever she, performed an oral sex act. I think it's weird that a narcissist will remember actions taken during a moment of perceived sympathy. When somebody who feels real sympathy and empathy, they won't feel the need to give a play-by-play of what all they did to comfort somebody. You know what I mean? It's like it was an act, and he straight up admitted it. Oh, well, I rubbed your shoulders. I was comforting you, dude. Whenever somebody's at a funeral and they're mourning the loss of their loved one, I'm not going to remember exactly what I did to comfort that person who's mourning the loss, but a narcissist will, because it's a fucking act. You know what I mean? Did you notice that?
I didn't, but I think a lot of that is just because I was thinking about sort of like being in her position of like her feeling like she's used, and kind of even just him, quote unquote, comforting her. Like, it's, to me, it just sounded like she thought it was bullshit, which obviously it was. But like you said, like, it's like when you do something for someone and instead of like letting them say thank you, you're like, aren't you going to thank me for all the wonderful things I did for you?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, can you just like, you don't need to broadcast play-by-plays of what you did to comfort me. Like, it's so weird.
Mm-hmm. So all of this is narcissistic behavior. And I'm telling you, he is the poster boy for narcissism. I'm telling you. So with all of those notes, at the time of this recording, you've only heard part 1 and the phone call. So please give me your thoughts. I want to know what's in that brain of you. Pick that brain. Pick.
Oh my God. Well, his name is not Chad, but he is a Chad. I will start by saying that. And if you know, you know. So before we started recording, I, was very candid with you and said there were actually parts of that like telephone call that I had to like kind of skip over because I just could not listen to him talk anymore. Like, he would just not shut up. So one of the things that I want to say then is, if you actually like listen to that phone call, I don't know if you've done this or not, but just, I would be really curious to know how many actual minutes she is speaking versus him speaking, because I can probably remember most of the things she said because she didn't really say that many things because he was just nonstop.
I would say it was a 37-minute phone call. I would say about 4 minutes of that was the sting and 33 of that was him. Actually, no. I take that back. It was, I'll say 32 minutes of that was him, and I think about 1 minute of that was like dead air. We'll take off just 1 minute.
And that's like something I noticed too, was just the, like you said, the dead air. Just, I don't know if he was like waiting for her to respond or if he was like hoping she wouldn't so that he could just keep going. But it was just like, it's so clear that this man just loves the sound of his own voice. Like, even saying crazy nonsense garbage, like just talking to talk. And like you were saying before, just pulling out the receipts, but like nobody's asking you for the receipts.
I've seen in so many, just watching true crime, just watching certain court trials, I've just seen so many times where like they are automatically on the defense about things that they quote unquote didn't do. But it's just like, dude, it's already been proven. He is totally denying all of these allegations, but all of these allegations are all the same. And these people, it's important to remember, they did not know each other prior to this guy. So how would somebody from Baltimore, somebody from Arizona, somebody from Washington, somebody from, I don't know, Nebraska, how would they all get together and be like, hey, let's go plan this like smear campaign on this one guy? No, they wouldn't do that. No normal group of people would do that, in their right mind would do that, unless it's a cult. And these people are not a cult. So it's all ridiculous. And it's funny because like narcissists typically think that they're smarter than everybody else. They think they can get away with everything. They will never take accountability for any of their actions. And he's trying to do all of that. So when you listened to Holly's story, because again, at the time of this recording, you've only heard Holly's story. What are your thoughts?
One of the things that really stuck out to me was how wonderful it was, and maybe wonderful is not the right word, but just how compelling it was to hear her tell her story in her own words and to explain what happened to her and even sort of how it happened to her, because I think that part's important to remember that it doesn't happen to just one particular kind of person. Like, women are sexually assaulted and raped every single day. It doesn't matter if they're young, old, middle-aged, Black, white, Asian. Like, it is a problem for all women.
Yeah. I think it's very important to hear their stories because, and I understand that it's triggering for some, but it's very important to hear their stories because some people are straight up not privy to this happening. There are people that are actually, unfortunately, sheltered to the fact that this is the real world and it happened. And when you listen to stories like this, it's almost like you're not put in that situation, you're not put in danger, but you are definitely put in the shoes of that person. And it definitely is a very eye-opening experience. It's like, oh my gosh, this very well could happen to me. I need to be vigilant. I need to be aware, and I need to always watch my surroundings or take any precaution or step I can to protect myself. It's also important that they are telling their stories because they are essentially saving somebody else from being his victim or another person's victim even. It's sad because he's the one that we're highlighting, but he is not the only one that's doing this to people. In your opinion, why do you think that this guy is continuing to get away with this behavior?
So I think just kind of listening to Holly's story and then listening to the phone call, I've obviously never met this man or anybody involved with this story, but I get the sense of who he is from the story and the phone call. And I think you've touched on it already. He's just a classic narcissist, but he also has that weird, like, charming quality to him. And I feel like that's the more dangerous kind of narcissist, because if you're not sort of trained to pick up on that behavior, you just sort of like breeze on past it because of the charming aspect. It's like I think you guys mentioned in Holly's episode that a lot of people expect rapists, sexual assault perpetrators, and even like murderers and serial killers, like a lot of people expect them to be these like troll looking men that, live under a bridge, but that's actually not the case. You and I know, we cover true crime cases, that there are tons of perpetrators that just look like your average everyday person, and that's why they don't get caught, is because they have that ability to be quote unquote upstanding members of society, to where people are like, oh no, Joe Schmo couldn't do that. Like, he's on the school board, or he does this and he does that. Like, he gives to charity and all these things. So having that like charming quality to him, which again, I just got the sense of in the phone call, as annoying as he was, is super dangerous, because it does sort of make you turn off those other, your eyes to the other red flags that are going on. And I think for me, hearing that phone call, my alarms were going off, because again, like my past relationships, I've had conversations like that before. And so for me, it wasn't necessarily triggering, but it definitely was like, if I was on the other end of this phone call, like I would have hung up like 20 minutes ago, because this motherfucker is just going on and on and on. And like, I'm donezo. I don't want to hear it. But me 10, 15 years ago, I would have started like internalizing all the crazy shit he was saying, and like, oh, that like, this is my bad. Like, I should be blah, blah, blah. Because there were things he was saying in that phone call that totally resonated with me, to where, because she didn't talk as much as he did, because he wouldn't shut up, it sometimes felt like he was talking to me. And I was just like putting myself in that place of like, oh my gosh, like I remember these conversations, and like I remember this happening to me. And I'm so thankful that like I can see that now. But it's like we've talked about from the beginning, this is why you're doing this episode, is because people need to know it may not always lead to this, but it can.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as like red flags now versus like seeing them later. Hindsight is always 2020. We want to make it to where it's not 2020 in this case. We want hindsight to not even exist. It's like, this is what's happened. Please don't let it happen to you. So, off the subject, I am so sorry that you've had to deal with similar. I'm very, very, very thankful that you did not have to go through anything even to this extent. And also, can we just agree, God bless Haley or the Sting in this situation, because yeah, I have to highlight the fact that you had said, you keep saying he won't shut up. No, he won't. We're on the same page here. It's just like, yeah. So from a personal standpoint, if you were in the shoes of these victims, what would your response be like? And I know that we've alluded to this earlier, but if you want to go ahead and just clarify on that one a little bit more.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so are you just sort of, I guess, asking kind of how I would respond if I had been in their position? Totally. Right. So I think, again, me now, I would hang up the phone. But me 10, 15 years ago, I was that person that the things he was saying, like, totally would have resonated with me. And I feel like I could have been duped by him. And so I totally, if I were her on the other end of the phone, I honestly would probably still keep talking to him, because I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, I feel kind of used, but like, he also comforts me. Like, he's telling me that he didn't rape these people. Like, yeah, he's not really talking the greatest about them, but at the same time, like, they're accusing him of rape. Like, I would be mad too if I were in that position, you know? So I think it's that like charming quality that totally makes you put your guard down and think that it's going to be okay if I keep talking to him.
What about from a legal standpoint? So, like, to clarify, I guess if he were telling you all of this and you were listening to this just as, like, I don't know, it could either be basically if you were in the shoes of like his lawyer or in the shoes of the victim's lawyer, what would your response be like?
If I was the victim's lawyer, I would be ecstatic at this phone call, because I would be ecstatic at this man, frankly, because he never shuts the fuck up. So I would have wild opportunities to get, you know, gold from him. If I were his attorney, my advice would be to shut the fuck up. Which, just to be clear, is always my advice as a lawyer. Yeah. But I think just from a legal standpoint, it's like when you have a public relations consultant, you want to do damage control, and damage control is not, hey, let's talk about these accusations that are going on with this person. Like, you should be closing your mouth and not saying anything, because not saying anything is easy to, like, okay, he didn't want to address these, like, he didn't want to tear down the victim or, you know, defame her, anything like that. But like, talking and saying all of these things, like, that's exactly how people start analyzing the language that you're using, and, you know, looking at his receipts and like looking at the screenshots that he has. Like, you're just opening up all these avenues of discovery when litigation comes.
Yeah. He's clearly dug himself a pretty big hole already. As a person, he thinks that he's like this big, smart fucking guy that everybody's obsessed with. But it's really funny because, like, he's just dug himself a grave and he's not going to be able to get out of this one.
Friendly advice is, you know, I definitely think speaking with a lawyer, speaking with even like a victim's rights advocate would be important, because they can kind of put you in touch with the right people. So I would almost kind of start there, because again, they're going to know like who you can speak to, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what your actual rights are. This is just like a personal thing too, because I think everybody should do this, like research the laws in your area and your states and your cities and all of that, so that you know what the statute of limitations is, because that one's really important too. So I think that would be like where I would start. And obviously, if you have any kind of evidence, make sure you preserve that.
I was hoping you would say, get a cat. Get you a Winston.
I'm assuming everyone already has a cat.
No, I mean, I think that's one thing I kind of, it sounds like it's off the subject, but, you know, speaking with Mama D from Petals of Support, one of the bits of advice that she gave was, you know, you always need that like third person, that outside perspective, you know, to offer you love and advice, but also get an animal. You know what I mean? And she's absolutely right. Like, it's been proven that dogs and cats, you pet them, you show them some love, it can reduce your stress levels. And it's crazy to me how right she is, because I think just about every victim that we've spoken to has an animal. One thing also, I'm just now remembering, one of the victims does claim that he was threatening to kill her cats. And I was just like, you know, that is first of all, it's really fucked up. But secondly, it's a huge marker of serial killer type of behavior. And one of the other victims had said he does do things that a serial killer would do. So that's kind of an off the cuff type of question. But what are your thoughts regarding all that? I know you've got some opinions too. I know you do.
So first of all, I will say, totally agree. Get a support animal. Even if they can't like be designated as an official support animal, like they will be your support animal. That's what Winston has been to me. That's why I got her in the first place. She is my everything. I love her to death. My second thing is, because she is my angel and my baby, I would fucking cut a bitch if they ever came for her. And let me tell you, like, if you fucking talk sideways to her, I'm gonna fucking come for you. I'm gonna fucking cut you off. Like, you are out of my life. Like, she is my ride or die, and fuck anyone else who, like, fucking tries to come between us. I think, too, like, it kind of makes sense to me. This sounds really terrible, but I think you'll understand where I'm going with this. It makes sense to me that he would threaten animals in this way, because they're like the ultimate victim and they don't have a voice. And that to me is like the most disgusting kind of person, because these poor creatures can't speak up for themselves. And for you to, and dogs and cats just love their people. You know, we've talked about it. Sometimes our cats are assholes, but I would never hurt them. You know, like, you could be an asshole to me all day and I will still love you, you know? So it's very, like, sick to have those kind of thoughts, and even to, like, utter those words to, like, threaten to hurt somebody's animals. Yeah. It's not just animals. It's also, like, children. Like, I don't know what it's like. I don't know exactly how to pinpoint what I'm trying to say, but it's just like, we as pet parents, as parents, you know, it's like we are their biggest advocates. And to hear that somebody is coming forward and even threatening harm to these animals and to kids and whatever, it breaks my heart, because it makes me want to just step forward and be that shield, because we are their biggest advocates. Why would somebody want to perform that kind of evil? Any kind of evil, really, but especially that. It's like, why? They don't do anything to you. They're there. But there's also the argument where they used to say, at least, you know, if you're a man, you would never, you know, hurt a woman. They used to see women as like a victim, or on like, what was the word you used? Basically, like, they're automatic victims or whatever. But it's like that. It's like, do you see where I'm going with that? It's like, why would you do that though? It doesn't make you look any better. What are your hopes after these episodes get released? I hate him. I think he's stupid. But ultimately, I think that this phone call in particular, and the stories are very important too, but I think this phone call actually lets you hear his voice and the way he speaks. And so I think one of the things that stuck out to me too, again, just because I've heard the narrative that he was spinning, is, you know, she said something about him yelling at her, and so she just you know, did what he wanted or whatever it was, and he was like, oh yeah, I yell at you, blah blah blah, and just like threw it back in her face essentially. And it was interesting to me that even though he never stopped talking and got a lot defensive, he never raised his voice, which I thought was interesting, just because I think it plays into that charming aspect, because he doesn't seem threatening, because he's not yelling at you. Even though he's saying like these terrible, shitty things, he's not like yelling them at you. So it's like less aggressive and like less hostile almost.
Yeah, it's practiced. It's coercive control.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking terrible, because it does just sort of, like you were saying, it puts your guard down. Even though like you're hearing these words and like they don't sound great, it's like, but they're not like threatening. They're not, you know, he's not yelling at me. It's just this weird like tone that they're just like, I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I can see why you would sort of continue on like talking to him or like whatever with him, because that manipulation is going on.
Oh man, I hate to use Ted Bundy in this. I really do. But it's like, can you imagine Ted Bundy being angry? I can't.
No.
I can imagine him doing similar. It's just like that. And it's also like, I keep comparing Adrian to Tony Costa. I'm telling you, Adrian Vildusea is a modern day Tony Costa. I can't see Tony Costa getting extremely angry. I can see him being all chill and laid back and manipulative, just like Adrian, and vice versa. And Tony Costa evidently cut a head off of one of his victims and definitely sexually assaulted all of them after they had died, you know, but I can't see him getting angry. You know what I mean? And that's what's really especially scary to me.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, when you mentioned Ted Bundy, the thing that pops into my head is like that classic picture of him just like smiling with that like goofy grin on his face.
Yeah.
So you're totally right. Like, I truly can't picture him getting angry. Like, that is the picture that comes to my mind when I hear that. And it's like, I could totally see the same thing for Adrian in this case, where like he doesn't have that like angry, brooding, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you kind of vibe. It's like that creepy grin, charming thing.
Yeah. You know, I just thought about something. You know what every really good classic horror movie has in common is like the reason why they're so scary is because, have you noticed that like Jason or Freddy Krueger, what have you, they never run after their victims, and they're never like that. They are very calm, right? Mm-hmm. I would be a lot less scared of somebody coming at me about to just sucker punch me than I would of Freddy Krueger slowly walking towards me. You know what I mean?
Or like Michael Myers, just like do.
Just slowly walking as you're running. It's there's something unnerving about a calm person that has snapped.
Right? Like they're not in a hurry to kill you, but they're gonna kill you none the same.
Yeah, they've got that power over you. It's really funny how you've got that. You've pinpointed that in Adrian Vildusea. It's like, we don't, at the end of the day, we don't know if he is a serial killer, but he sure is showing all the markers, isn't he? Especially with how calm he is.
My just kind of final thoughts are how important it is to, you know, I've never been in this situation, so I completely empathize, but also know that I'm coming from a place of ignorance. But, you know, keep coming forward, keep telling your stories, because we as women need the narrative to be that women are telling the truth. And the vast majority of women don't lie about something like this. Nobody wants this to happen to them. It should be automatic that we believe the person, and, you know, maybe through investigation we find that they weren't telling the truth, but it should be the default that somebody's believed versus the other way around.
I 100% agree. We're definitely going to touch up on how people typically should always believe when somebody is telling you that they are being sexually assaulted, because 99% of the time they're not lying to you. If they are, it's better to find out that they're lying to you and they haven't been hurt than assuming that they're lying to you when they're being truthful and they continue to get hurt. So, Elyse, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. We really appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elyse, for your insight and discussion on this topic. We truly adore you and miss Winston and look forward to our episodes together in the coming weeks. This completes part 6 of this multi-part series. We thank everyone for their participation in this. Whether they are interviewed or reenacting or even just listening, please be vigilant.
Thank you for listening to A Nefarious Nightmare podcast. Music used in this podcast was originally composed by Ghost Stories Incorporated and remixed by Ryan RCX Murphy. Please leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or on any podcast platform that accepts ratings and reviews. Thank you very much for listening, and as always, don't be a dick and wear deodorant.